Oh, Marie, gotta be quiet.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. We have a fantastic webinar for you today. The residential experience panel is one of our most popular topics, one of the most well-attended webinars that we have. So a couple of things I'll go over before we get started. We're in webinar mode, and that means that we cannot see you or hear you, but you can put any questions or comments that you have in the chat box. Our lovely panel guests will help answer the questions. If you have a question about one of their specific communities, please make sure that you address your question to them so that they can answer you in the chat. I'm Michelle Morris from Consolidated Planning Group. We are recording this webinar, and we will send out both the recording and the slides to everybody who registered later on today. So you'll be able to have the slides, the recording of the webinar, and all of that information for you. So we should be here until about 1 o'clock. If you have any questions, please, like I said, put them in the chat. And if you are listening on our podcast and you would like a copy of these slides, you can email contact@cpgcares.net and we'll get those slides sent over to you. Really quick, just a little bit about Consolidated Planning Group. We are first and foremost a financial planning firm. We are a holistic, special needs focused company. We're located in Sugar Land, Texas, and we serve families all across the United States. We have over 30 years of experience with insurance and financial services, members of the $1 Million Roundtable, fully licensed in insurance and securities. We're also members of the Special Needs Planning Academy and certified as National Social Security Advisors. So we work with many families, mainly in Texas, but like I said, all throughout the United States. Families come to us for protection plans, lifetime care plans, transition planning, ABLE accounts, and we serve and advocate and educate for families in the special needs community. You know, there are over 263,000 financial advisors, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, over 263,000 in the United States. And less than 0.1% of those financial advisors in the United States focus on special needs planning like we do. So you are definitely in the right place with us. So first to go today is going to be 29 acres. Emily, we would love to hear from you about 29 acres. Or Deborah, I'm sorry.
No problem. It was Emily, but Emily is new, so I'm going to, she's working with me on this one. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me today. I have to silence my dog. So let me talk to you a little bit about what we're doing at 29 acres. We really have two components to 29 acres. We have a real estate component, which comprises our independent living community located in Crossroads, Texas. And then we have a suite of support services that we also offer. I think that this webinar is focused on residential. So let me start with our independent living community. We've been open almost 3 years now. And we have 43 rental opportunities at 29 acres. And we're most like a co-housing community. The majority of our opportunities are 4-bedroom, 4-bath homes, about 3,200 square feet, front and back porches. They're really lovely homes. Within the community, we also have a clubhouse. which includes just a, a chill area where people hang and have movie nights or, other social things. We have a commercial kitchen. We have a gym. We have a classroom, a multi-purpose room that we use for, various things. And we have literally 29 acres of beautiful outdoor space that we use for lots of different things. Currently, this is a consumer-directed property. And what that means is that when you live at 29 acres, you rent a space there, and then you choose the provider of your choice. We can certainly provide services, but it doesn't have to be us. And we have several residents here that have different providers. We are not licensed as assisted living. We are independent living, which means that we may offer some meals in our clubhouse 2 or 3 evenings, optional, a week, but most residents cook in their own homes with or without support. We have always approached 29 acres wanting to support the full spectrum of neurodivergent individuals. And so approximately a third of our individuals have more severe needs, and then a third really have lower needs, and then the other third are pretty much in between. So it just has worked out organically that way, that we really have a beautiful, nice, broad spectrum of neurodiversity living with us. We have access to public transportation. We have Uber, Lyft, and then of course we have a fleet of vehicles that gets people to where they need to go when they want to do that. We definitely lean towards autism here at 29 acres. I'm the founder, the CEO, and my son has autism. But there are folks that are living here that do not have the diagnosis of autism. We have an organic garden, a beautiful 1-acre organic garden in the back of our property now that has some lovely daffodils in front of it. We have some animal husbandry opportunities with pets and alpacas and goats for those folks that like that sort of thing, and not everyone does. We have a beautiful walking path and pool and gigantic hot tub because everybody likes to swim in hot tubs. So lots of nice amenities, and it's just really a lovely space that's very well connected to our surrounding local communities. We're 10 minutes away from 2 public universities, and we just leverage every ounce that we can from those universities. We have a very supportive community in terms of employment opportunities, recreational, social opportunities. It's just a very nice area to be in, frankly. So then the other part of 29 acres, which again is optional for people that live here, is our suite of support services. And we place a lot of emphasis on employment. We have a voc rehab counselor who does a beautiful job. And we work with TWC in Denton, Collin, and Dallas County. And we, again, offer support services to individuals living here who choose us. And then we also offer support services in Dallas and Denton to individuals with neurodiversity who still choose to live in their family home. And then we have a very popular 2-year residential transition program at 29 acres. These individuals do not live in our community. They live in houses about 5 minutes down the road from us, and then apartments in Denton. And this is a 2-year residential, kind of a runway towards independent living. It's a very fast-paced program, and it is dedicated to people with high-functioning autism. And we belong to a consortium of others across the US that are participating in this particular program. Very impressive outcome data. It's a very popular program. I think that's, we are full at 29 acres. We have 43 residents living with us. We do have more space, but I don't intend to build any additional houses in the foreseeable future. Someone else may come along and do it, but we have our hands full here, and the size feels about right to me. So we're happy to, accept people. We're still giving tours, accept people on a wait list, but at this time, we are full. Our cost for rent and community fees is roughly $3,000 a month. And that is inclusive of everything, utilities and all the landscaping, access to everything, numerous social activities at night and on weekends. If individuals need direct support, that's an additional cost by whoever is providing that support. And that can be very little support, an hour or two a week, and that can be 24/7 support with somebody in their house overnight. All of what we do is very community-based, very individualized. No two life plans are alike, frankly. And then I think the last thing I'll say is that our leadership is made up of, for the most part, board certified behavioral analysts, which is probably why we lean towards autism. And then this whole issue of the waivers, we just did pass heightened scrutiny. And so we do have a house that we can accept HCS funding. And we do accept HCS funding, residential funding. And then we will probably apply for 2 additional houses in the near future. At this time, those houses are all full. But again, we are accepting, waitlist applicants who also want to use those funds.
Thank you so much, Deb. That has been so helpful. You did a great job. Thank you I'm sorry that you got thrown in to go first, but thank you. If anyone has questions for Deb about 29 acres, please put those in the chat box and we will move along. Next is Jennifer at Brookwood. Jennifer at Brookwood in Georgetown. You don't look like a Jennifer.
Well, Jen's also on the call. I think we thumb wrestled earlier and I won, so I get to share about Big.
Fantastic.
Yeah, my name is Luke and I'm the executive director of Brookwood in Georgetown, or Big as we're known in the community. And we are a God-centered, out of the box, innovative, residential and vocational community for adults with special needs. And we were started 11 years ago by a desperate mom on a mission whose daughter Gracie had a traumatic brain injury when she was 2 and graduated as the homecoming queen, and then shortly found out afterwards that there was no meaningful work or opportunity for Gracie after making national news being homecoming queen. So our founder Aaron just learned from the Brookwood community outside of Houston and begin to integrate a lot of those core principles here in Georgetown. So for the first 11 years of our existence, we've been only a vocational community. And what that means is we have about 90 citizens, as we call our participants, with a capital C, that work in a variety of enterprises on one of our 3 campuses. So we have our main campus here in Georgetown. We have a satellite at a local church in Georgetown. And then we have a campus in Austin at a partner church who allows us, both those churches allow us to operate there for free, which is wonderful. And our citizens are making pies, fudge, cookies, incredibly beautiful pottery, cards, jewelry. I can't even keep up with all of them because that's the kind of the entrepreneurial side of the organization is they're constantly growing and learning new things. And then we sell all of those things here in our gift shop right across the parking lot from this building. And that boutique has been voted best boutique in Georgetown 6 years in a row. So we're very proud of the work our citizens do. But from the beginning, our founder had the vision for a residential community. And by the grace of God, about 2 years ago, a bunch of people came together, and families and donors who said, we believe in this vision. And we purchased 127 acres in Weir, Texas, which is just 6 miles east of Georgetown. It was technically a Georgetown address when we purchased it, but we wanted to annex it to the city of Weir because they've got a much smaller government and can make things happen faster for us. So very, very close to Georgetown, which is, about 30 minutes north of Austin. And Grace Place will be the forever home to 80 of our citizens. We have a very neurodiverse community of adults at Big, and we want to accommodate for all of those various needs at Grace Place. And so at this point in time, we have designed 3 distinct styles of homes. We have the first 2 homes that are opening in about a month are a type A assisted living facility. There are 8 citizen bedrooms in the home with live-in house parents or home staff that live in their own portion of the home. And I'm very familiar with this because my wife and I had this role for 4 years at the Brookwood community, and it was the coolest job I've ever had. So excited for the citizens and the staff to get to live a life together in that home, and both of those 2. As you see in this picture, this is our tiny home village, which is underway. That should be done late this summer. That is not an licensed assisted living. It is independent living. And so each citizen would have their own 400 square foot tiny home. There are 2 staff homes to kind of facilitate activities and off-campus activities, meals, you name it. And then the little structure that does not have a roof yet is what we call the clubhouse. And that's just like a big common area for all of the tiny home villagers to come together so that their tiny home is their sacred space and no one else goes in there. Starting probably this summer or fall, we will break ground on our 2 type B assisted living that provides that 24/7 overnight awake staff. And but we as a nonprofit, we're just raising the money, and as we raise the money, we build. And so right now we're raising money for those 2 type B homes for a 8,000 square foot community center that'll have a fitness center and additional work enterprise rooms and large gathering spaces. But that's really just residential. The vision for Grace Place is that it would be, there would be so much more to it. And there'll be multiple self-sustaining enterprises like an outdoor movie theater. We've talked about a pet resort, farmers market, a wedding chapel, and event venue. All things that provide jobs for our citizens, that generate revenue for the community, and welcome Georgetown and Austin residents to come into the world of our citizens in their context and get to know them. Our vision is to change the way the world views adults with special needs. And we do that every single day in a bunch of different ways. One of the ways we do it is in our store, where we have thousands of people who look up breakfast in Georgetown and they stumble upon our cafe and they walk in and they say, wait, tell me more. And we get to share with them the lives of adults with special needs as our citizens are serving them in the cafe. So anyway, Grace Place will have a lot of those self-sustaining enterprises over the coming years as we develop. Michelle, thank you. I think I'm right at 5 minutes. I tried doing it quick.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, if you have questions about Big, go ahead and put those in the chat box and they will take care of you. Brookwood community in Brookshire, I don't think Laura was able to join us today. If you worked at Brookwood, did you want to speak on them real quick? Not a full 5 minutes, but.
Sure. Yeah. I started at Brookwood almost 10 years ago, and Brookwood is quite a bit low. It's funny, our name is Big because they are so much bigger than we are. They were founded in the early 80s by a desperate mom on a mission. They are on 500 acres. They have 12 or 13 homes that have anywhere between 6 residents each. Most have 12 residents, and then there's one large type B that has about 30. But on campus of Brookwood, all of their citizens who live there also work on campus. So they have 50 production greenhouses. They've got the 10,000 square foot retail gift shop and cafe. Lots of on-campus activities. But I was going to say, it just says it right there. There are no vacancies, but they do have an interest list, as do we here in Georgetown. So that was really quick, Michelle. I don't know if there's anything more. I don't want to speak too much about what we're doing. I
appreciate it. You know more about them than I do, so I appreciate the help on that one. All right. And if you're asking questions and you want a specific, community answer, make sure you let them know that you're talking to them. Okay, Down Home Ranch. Down Home Ranch is up next. We've got Casey, maybe.
Yes.
Thank you. Take it away.
All right. Yeah, so we are a residential community out in Elgin, which is east of Austin. We also have a day program and we do summer camps and respite camps. Our day program is predominantly for our individuals who live with us, but we do have a few openings for people in our local community that are not residents. On the residential side, we have ICF, intermediate care facilities, HCS, home and community-based services, and then private pay. Currently, our only openings are in private pay. We do have an interest list for both HCS and ICF services. For our private pay, we have a mix of in-home staff and then what we call supported independent living. So all of our private pay is on site. So we have about 400 acres. So when we say independent living, it is and it isn't. It's not, the level of independence doesn't have to be as high as I think some people expect that it needs to be, because there are still staff that are on the property that are available. So that throws people off sometimes when we get some questions about it and they're like, I don't know if we're ready to live independently. And people can be as independent or not really as they need to be. So if they don't need any assistance, they don't have to have staff come by. It's tiny homes that they live in on their own. But if they do, there's someone that's still they're ready to assist where needed. So it's kind of that stepping stone to independence where it really depends on the individual and where they're at. That is where our openings are in right now. We also have some private pay options where someone does still live in the home, which is a more similar to like the HCS ICF model. It's just not under the waiver service. So our cost for independent living is $4,000 per month. That includes housing, food, day programming, and activities that we go out on. Again, for HCS and ICF, those would be funded through the waiver, but again, currently would be on a waitlist program. On our slide, it says youth and adults. For the youth services, that's only camp and respite. So for our day program and our residential services, those are 18 up. So we ask that the individual has graduated from high school before moving into our programs, but we do have camp options and some respite options for younger individuals. Although even then we tend to stick in the teens. We don't do a lot of services for younger children. That's just not kind of our area of expertise, but for camp, we do have some options for teens. I've been watching some of the other questions, so just to try to answer some of those, even though they weren't directed towards us, we do Special Olympics. So we have our own local team and we participate in the Austin area Special Olympics. And then again, for services, we can supplement. So if someone has Texas Home Living or HCS and they're in the private pay option, there may be some opportunity to supplement day program, nursing services, things like that through waiver. And that could adjust what that cost would be.
And somebody asked if these are accessible for wheelchairs. This picture that's up does not look like it is, but are there other options that would?
They are. So this one does not, but some of the tiny houses do have ramps, and we have the ability to change out the stairs for ramps if that is needed. So I think 2 of the 6 right now have ramps, but if one of the openings was in one that had stairs and needed a ramp, we would be able to switch that out. I will say that we are out kind of in the country, so we don't have any disqualifiers in terms of medical need or anything like that, but it is something for people to consider that we're about 30 minutes away from the closest hospital, and we are in a rural area, so that is something that people sometimes like to consider when looking at our services.
Thank you so much, Casey. I'll remind everybody we are recording this and we will send you both the recording and the slides later on today in your email. So next we have Joy from Daymark Living. I know she's here.
Okay. There I am.
There you are, out at the pool. Is that the pool that's in this picture?
It is, yeah. I'm out. It's a beautiful day in the Metroplex, so I'm outside today, working outside. So I'm Joy from Daymark Living. We are probably the newest campus in the area. We're 4 years old. We sit on 40 acres. As you can see in the picture, we have lots and lots of acres. We utilize 22 of them. We have capacity for 202 residents. As we're only 4 years old, we're kind of we're hitting a trajectory this year that will hopefully have us full by the end of the year, but we do have openings. Our cost is $4,500 a month. That's all inclusive of 3 meals a day, snacks, coaches, prompting, hygiene, personal assistance, classes that include hobby classes and academic classes. So math, reading, writing, science, as well as international cooking, circuit training, basketball, arts and crafts, painting classes, outdoor activities. We have so many things going on campus all the time at Daymark. We do have 2 community pets. We have a black lab, and we just added a golden doodle to our mix. She's sleeping here on the ground under the table. She's pretty great. We do have residents with all kinds of diagnoses. So we have about a third autism, a third Down syndrome, and a third other. That includes things like rare genetic mutations, cerebral palsy, TBIs. We have fetal alcohol syndrome. We also, our rate includes transportation to and from work. Several of our residents do work off campus. Some do work on campus and some work off. We just started a partnership with Baylor Scott and White that will help many of our residents gain those vocational skills as we're volunteering. So we are the first group to be volunteering with Baylor Scott and White as true volunteers. Our residents go, they went through the full orientation, and they assist on the floors in maternity, I think in neonatal, and I want to say in the geriatric population as well. It is a great thing for our residents. Daymark is a very special place, and we are more than happy to speak to anyone about our campus or do tours or virtual tours. We have families from across the country, some not even in the country. Cayman Islands, Sweden. We have some from California, New York, Virginia. So we are accommodating of families that are, not necessarily right in the Metroplex. And we do understand that a lot of our residents do go on vacations with their families for a long time. I'm happy to answer any questions in the comment box for you all. We also do Special Olympics, bowling, bocce, and basketball.
Thank you so much, Joy. Okay, Mark, you're up.
And thank you, Michelle. So I think I actually have 2 slides here. So we'll deal with the first one. So welcome, everybody. My name is Mark Olson. I'm the president, founder, and CEO of LTO Ventures. First and foremost, I'm the father of 2 significantly developmentally disabled adult daughters, 18 and 27. So this is personal as well as professional. So the first slide is going to address our business is really 3 things. We're building our own community, which will be the next slide. We provide consulting and project management services to help other nonprofits around the U.S. build their residential communities and employment options. And we presently work on 6 other projects in 4 states around the country. And the third piece of what we do is advocacy. In our consulting and project management services, we are soup to nuts. I like to think that our competitive advantage is that we're the boots on the ground. We come work with you in your environment and do all the heavy lifting, from helping you to figure out what it is you want to create, all the way through to writing all your business plans, strategic plans, helping you fundraise, doing project design, helping with project design, all the way through opening. So that's a big piece of what we do. We're in Arizona, Indiana, just finished up in Wisconsin, Ohio, soon starting in Minnesota, just wrapped up in Connecticut. So we're kind of all over the US. Michelle, if you go to the next slide.
Absolutely.
So we are building our own community, which we call Autumn Hills Village. It'll have multiple phases to it. Primarily, and really our differentiator both on our consulting side and here at Autumn Hills Village, is that we develop for sale communities. So you as a family would be purchasing a home for your son or daughter, 1, 2, or 3 bedroom home. And the reason we're doing this, and the reason why we do a lot of this around the country, is families have told us for years, one, I want long-term control of where my son or daughter lives. Second is I can either set fire to money every month, or we can build equity to do that. And you do that through home ownership. We actually create a very interesting opportunity for home ownership for adults with IDD. There are a couple places around the country, but pretty much most of our projects are that. Third piece of what we'll do is we hope to have a phase that is affordable housing, and we're working with an affordable housing developer to create that. So that would be a leased opportunity. What's really exciting also is we'll have a community center, 10 to 12,000 square foot community center on our property. And we are just starting a collaboration with another group here to build an aquatic center that would sit next to our community center. I know there's a question about Special Olympics. We're based in Bernie, just northwest of San Antonio. We have a very strong Special Olympics group here, but no place for them to practice, no place for them to compete. Except in San Antonio or in New Braunfels. So we're very excited about getting those other pieces done. For Autumn Hills Village, we expect that will be HCBS waiver eligible. I'd love to say we're targeting 2027. Hopefully market conditions continue to move in a direction that allows us to do that. Gosh, what else can I say about that? We'll be 21 plus, so you need to be at least 21 to live in our community. We will support aging in place. We will be fully ADA compliant. In fact, I don't particularly like the term universal design. I like the term adaptable design. So we'll work with individuals, sort of like Deb Cotty does at 29 acres, where I expect we'll have a distribution of residents who range anywhere from needing minimal support, daily supports, to needing 24/7, 365. Quite frankly, both of my daughters will need 24/7, 365 to help them live as independently as possible. And let's see what else we got. Yeah, I think those are the big points.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you for being here.
Sure. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay, Marbridge, we've got Rosie with us today from Marbridge.
Thank you so much. I just want to start by saying, if anybody has additional questions, because I know 5 minutes is not much time, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone at Marbridge. We answer the phone, we give tours all the time. On our website, we have a section about coming for a jam session, but we do individualized tours all the time, so just reach out. Marbridge has a pretty long history. We are about to celebrate 70 years. This year, this June will be our 70th anniversary. And like many communities, we were founded by, by a family who felt a need that didn't exist. We're just outside of Austin in Manchac. We're on about 200 acres. And we are pretty unique in that we actually have 3 distinct care communities that interact quite a bit, but we do have these 3 care communities on our one campus. So we have a section of our campus called the Village that is designed for residents with a higher level of independence. While we offer 24/7 awake staff, it is more a case of rotating staff. So they're kind of checking in the 16 cottages throughout the day. So the residents at the Village need to be able to self-initiate and self-advocate a little bit more than other areas of our campus. A lot of those residents are engaged during the day with various classes, or they're working, or a combination of both. The more supportive area of our campus is called the Ranch. It is currently is resembled in a dormitory style building or in 4 12-person lodges. Those are newer constructed, look a little more home-like. And our goal in the future is to have more lodges and eventually outgrow our dorm altogether. We have big plans on the horizon for that. We have residents there that need a little bit more prompting, a little bit more support. So the direct care staff in those areas are really kind of more accessible to the residents. They're based right there in the lodges and the dorm, and they will help residents throughout the day, overnight, and weekends as needed. Those residents are also engaging in different classes and work opportunities if that is a goal of theirs as well. And like other communities have mentioned, all sorts of different classes from academic skills improvement to vocational to hobby, interest-based, lots of ways to be healthy and exercise, workout. We have independent living skills geared classes as well. So lots going on campus. The third part of our campus that is pretty unique in that we have this continuum of care is what we call the Villa, and that is our licensed skilled nursing home. It was created as a kind of a retirement option, a continuity of care in the 80s, but we really have kind of seen a shift in the residents that are going in there. While we do serve our own residents that are aging in place on our campus, we also have some younger, more significantly impaired individuals that call the Villa home at a young age. So it is really geared towards a special needs population there. That is the one portion of our campus that does accept long-term Medicaid. It's specific to a nursing home setting. So the range in the village are private pay, and you can see there the cost is $39.25 per month, but the Villa does accept long-term Medicaid as long as someone meets medical necessity for that portion of our campus. We're very active in Special Olympics. We do a lot out in the greater community. We go out for outings. Again, we go out for work. There's a lot to do on our campus, and I know I'm probably getting short on time, so I'll try to work on answering these questions as they've come through.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rosie.
Sure.
Okay, my possibilities.
Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Michael.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, nice to be here today. We're a little bit different in that I think we're the one person or organization speaking about residential that's not serving in a residential capacity yet. So I'll talk a bit about MP and then talk a little bit about where we are in the project. Some may have heard or be connected to our project already. My possibilities is predominantly an educational program in North Texas. We serve the Dallas, Collin, Denton, Rockwall, kind of there's another county in there somewhere. The North Texas region, supporting about 600 adults on a monthly basis. We're known for calling our adults hipsters, for hugely important people. And those 600 are being served in a variety of services, many of which you've already heard about today: educational programming, therapeutic programs, respite, Special Olympics, launching a unified soccer league, all sorts of cool stuff. And really got into the notion of residential services about, Deborah would probably remember as well as I would, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, working towards a inclusive community. By that we mean a community that supports housing for people with and without disabilities, of which we would be building and selling a percentage of the homes to basically support the cost associated with building homes for our hipsters. So a mixed community there. We bought 180 acres in Garland, Texas. It's one of the last remaining pieces of property in Garland that's this large, adjacent to Lake Ray Hubbard. So if you're looking at a map, follow the lake all the way to the northwest part of Lake Ray Hubbard, and you'll find one remaining piece of grass. And it used to be a country club. And there are many, many people around that area that wish it was still an active and functional country club, but unfortunately that is not the case. So we purchased it. We were moving forward to raising capital for the development of about 300 homes. COVID hit, and it did stall the nature of the progress. Cost of housing went up, materials went up, and to be frank, we had to go back to the city and sort of rework a plan. And we were in the process of submitting that plan last year when an absolutely delightful neighbor in South Garland sent a letter to the city listing some details about a deed restriction in Garland that represented an area of about 1,800 acres. Our property is about 180 of those, so 10% of the area. And even though that deed restriction had never been enforced for the other 90% of the land, he was suggesting that he would in fact enforce it if we built the plan that we had laid out. So you guys are getting a little bit of behind the scenes information, but where we are today in 2023, we're in the final plans of reworking the layout to accommodate the deed. And we will ultimately roll back out to the city here in the near future with a new plan. The community as a whole will be built with community amenities all over, including pool and an amenity center and fishing ponds and all sorts of magical stuff. Walking trails throughout, somewhere around 1.5 miles to 2 miles of walking trails that actually tie to the City of Garland trail system that runs down Lake Ray Hubbard. The homes themselves, just to point out, Mark, I like your adaptable design, whether you call it that or universal design. The idea is that every home in this community would be designed accordingly, even if the parents buy a home across the neighborhood from the home that their child or sibling is living in. So these would be universal design, single family homes. Anybody can buy them. We did, when it comes to vacancies, we did sort of internally, we spoke to our families and just said, is there anybody that is interested in putting money down for one of the lots in the community is actually called Mission Hills. I think 70 families in the first month put down money on lots. So of the 300 homes, 100 are already spoken for, 30 of our own, 70 for our families. We haven't actually gone public with lot availability. So we expect these to move pretty quickly because the idea of being able to live in a community where your child is independent but 6 blocks away instead of a few hours away is pretty appealing to a lot of our families. I think the most important thing to note is the cost. We are modeling this to be almost exclusively waiver focused. Of our 600 families today, I think 75 to 80% of them are utilizing HCS, Texas Home Living Class waivers to attend programming. The expectation here is that of our homes, the vast majority of them are going to utilize HCS and waiver funding to support our hipsters living there. We will likely have some private pay homes as well. We have had some families that have asked if they could purchase a home and then who maybe they don't have HCS waiver, but if they purchased a home and gave it to the organization to use as a private pay home, would we do that? Absolutely. We're working through those rates as well. And even though it says the private pay rates are to be determined, the reality is, and you've kind of seen it today, the cost of private pay residential services range anywhere between $3,000 a month and $4,000 a month ballpark. I don't expect ours to be too far off the mark. But just wanted to reinforce that the goal is to support housing for adults with disabilities through Medicaid waiver. That is the plan here, and what's sort of figured out here, similar to LTO and their work, is to find a way to replicate this in other places and states that are looking for inclusive housing that leverage waiver pay as a way for our adults to live in an inclusive community. So that is MP and Mission Hills. There's 2 email addresses there, just to be clear. The info at Mission Hills email address will go to our partner and our team that's working on the development of the community. And residential at mptx.org gets on our list as well. There's about 850 or so families that are on that list. And when the time comes for us to communicate that lots are available, we will be communicating to that interest list first. So if you're interested, residential at mptx.org is definitely the one to get on.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michael.
Yep.
Okay, New Danville. Do we have Eva from New Danville?
I apologize. I keep
there you
forgetting
are.
that I'm on mute. Thank you for having me
today at Consolidated Planning Group.
No, again, thank you. It's really amazing to see everyone who's been on here and to learn of everything that we're doing together to serve our neurodiverse communities. It's an incredible group of folks here. So New Danville, we are both a residential and a day program facility. We are located in Willis, Texas, which is 8 miles actually from Conroe. We're in Montgomery County. Our nearest big cities are Conroe and the Woodlands. And that's where we do most of our community outreach. Yes, so our residential community really is a fully independent community. We have 34 residents and about 37 on a wait list. We have really the full spectrum of neurodiversity. When I say fully independent, we do not have staff in the homes. Many of our residents do receive support either from their waiver provider, or their families will contract with someone to come in the home once or twice or 3 times a week. But for the most part, our adults live fully independent homes. We do not restrict their associations with each other. They have house parties for football or for any number of reasons. They have cookouts. We don't structure or restrict their residential lives. Now, I do have a couple who lives on site. He is a registered nurse and she also works in this field. And some of our families have hired her to be in-home support as needed. We have anything that you would see in the community. I have 3 married couples who live on site. 3 of our adults own their own vehicles and they go to and from work. Some of our adults participate in the day program for a separate fee, but some do not. Currently, our models are 1, 2, and 4 bedroom homes. Rent ranges anywhere from $690 a month to $825, depending on the home. This does include all utilities, landscape services, pest control services. Our day program is a little bit different, depending whether the person is paying privately or is a waiver recipient. Averages about $35 a day for day program services. And could I go to the next slide real quick?
Yes, there you go.
Yes, due to our just incredible growth in the last year and a half, we are undertaking a major growth campaign. We call it Vision 2025. We do plan on building 11 more homes. These will be 1 and 2 bedroom homes. We've not yet determined rate, but again, our goal is to keep everything truly affordable compared to our community. These will be independent living homes. And as you can see, part of that plan is also to add another classroom or instructional building, a rec center, and hopefully not too far away, a small chapel where folks can go or we can have rented out for weddings. As far as our day program, it is an extremely rich offering of activities. No one person has the same schedule. We have everything from sign language to international baking class where they research a country and pick a recipe for that country. We have cooking class. We have classes where some of our ladies are making their own bath and body products. We teach them how to do that. And then we now have a guys class because they wanted to learn how to make bath and body products to make themselves beautiful. We do offer some work opportunities on our campus. We have a partnership with the company in Houston where we build pallets for them. All of our client employees they start at minimum wage, but depending on their length of time, they get periodic increases and or cost of living increases, as do our staff. And we also do provide transportation to some of our adults that work in the community. So our goal is just really to include them in their community outside of our campus as much as possible. We have volunteering opportunities that they go to. We have 2 very supportive parent groups that do a lot of the museums at night or during the day on the weekends, or they do dinner and a movie. As well as we have what we call the social club. We select an outing for the weekend and folks can sign up if they want to. That's
Fantastic.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Looking forward to our continued growth so that we can serve more people in need.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Eva.
you.
That was fantastic. Don't forget, I will email out these slides and the presentation later on today to whatever email address you registered with. Okay, next we have Project Beacon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time today. Before I get started, a little intro maybe. Kevin Garrity, I'm co-founder and vice president of Project Beacon and a parent. I think like many on the call here, I have a son who's 21, severely autistic. And so as Mark said, you know, it's as much passion and personal as well as trying to serve, you know, more than just our immediate families here. I also have on the phone here Amy Wood, who's also a board member, to help answer any questions. And I also want to take a second to just thank everybody else on the call. One of the things that we've done is to really get out in the special needs residential community and figure out what is working, what's not working, and try to incorporate those lessons learned in our plan going forward. So we started with Mark. We had a session with Mark. We've spent time at 29 acres. We're up to Daymark, New Danville, Marbridge, you know, all over Texas, really kind of learning what's working and what hasn't worked. And everybody's been very open in terms of sharing that. We've been outside the state a little bit too. So I think, you know, one of the hallmarks of what we're trying to do is really benchmark others' success and try to learn from that and shorten our development cycle. So we're taking best practices. When it comes to Project Beacon, you know, we're similar in some others on the call here as well. Our intent is to be very open from an admissions perspective. My son's a severely autistic kid. Amy's is as well. We are going to be open to all, you know, basically all support levels, high, medium, and low. And we have a plan, thanks to Mark, of, you know, looking at 40 to 60 residents and basically looking at the 29 acres P&L and the staffing and all that, probably along a third in terms of high support, medium support, low support. So that's kind of our vision there. There was a comment about, you know, having just the residential piece. I think a cornerstone of our effort is really to have a vibrant life there. So we'll be residential, but we're also looking to, under that umbrella of residential, have educational opportunities. I'm a big believer in this. The program my son is in now is all about independent living. You know, how to do laundry, how to pop popcorn in the microwave, how to do that stuff. And that shouldn't end when, you know, the individual reaches 21. I mean, there's a huge opportunity to keep growing down that path to build independent living skills. So as much as there is a residential component, there's an educational component that we were planning for Beacon, vocational and recreational. You know, we've connected with the Special Needs or Special Olympics of Houston and others. I think, you know, having that, you know, vibrancy there is what you need, especially if, you know, folks are going to be there 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, you got to have that variety, et cetera. And another thing for us is we're not trying to do that all ourselves. We're really trying to partner with others. So, you know, develop a partnership with Special Olympics, develop partnerships with other folks that are doing some day programming or whatever the new term is in the general area. So, you know, you have those options depending on what your needs are to be able to go out and continue to work on that. So that's our kind of our philosophy. Location, you know, we don't have a location yet. We're basically North Harris, South Montgomery, between Kingwood and the Woodlands is basically our kind of area that we're starting with here. We've got an architect on board. We're working through the what a site plan would look like. So how many acres, what are the details inside the residential, you know, apartments? What does the common areas look like? What are the amenities we want to offer? Again, a lot of this is gathered through the benchmarking that we've done with others. So it'll be similar. So folks have an opportunity to get physical exercise, et cetera. We do intend to be a consumer directed services and a Medicaid waiver eligible site. It's you know, as it says there, which will be a huge driver on costs. But in general, you know, similar to what Mark had mentioned, you know, the resident would come if they have their team already in place, they can bring the team in there. If you come with an individual says, hey, look, I need some help here, we'll have almost like the menu list there of the service providers that we can work with you on. But you want to have that kind of consumer directed approach to that. I'm going to pause here for a second and see if Amy wants to chime in on anything else. And I am conscious of time that we're coming up here on it. So, but again, appreciate everybody's help to get us to where we are so far.
Thanks, Kevin. The only thing that I wanted to add is that one of our major focuses, since we are very focused on trying to get the behavioral type of support that individuals on the spectrum need, and really don't get very much access to in a scattered group home model. So we will have applied behavior analysis sort of executed in a natural environment and have BCBAs and behavioral staff not only designing it, but throughout some of the implementation. We've been inspired by 29 Acres and their model in that regard. So we feel like that our ability to have that expertise and leverage economy of scale by having an intentional community of individuals that need that level of support is going to be crucial for us. We're kind of that first generation of parents whose kids got early intervention, and they have a lot of really good skills. But if they don't have access to the behavioral expertise they need to harness them and to maintain them, then a lot of that opportunity is lost. So we're hoping to fill some of those gaps. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amy. A couple more things from me. Thank you again to everybody who has helped out with this residential panel and presented today. A couple things from me. We did see one question in the chat box that said, how on earth do people afford that? And that's what we at Consolidated Planning Group are here to help you with, is who is going to care for your child when you no longer can, and how on earth is that going to be paid for? So we suggest planning early, developing that plan for the future, looking at post-high school educational and vocational options early, touring transition programs and all of these fantastic residential communities, and making careful consideration before you just say, oh, their sibling is going to take care of them. We don't necessarily want that relationship to be strained and obligatory. We want it to be a friendly, helpful relationship. We do webinars 2 and 3 times a week, sometimes 4 and 5 times a week, on various topics related to special needs planning. So we're including here a link to our website that will take you straight to the events tab. And we'll tell you when all of our upcoming webinars are and what the topics will be. So please join us for those. This is our team here at Consolidated Planning Group. It's 2 husband and wife teams of advisors. So there's Allison and Jeff. They have 2 special needs kids, and that's why we do what we do. And then there's myself and my husband, Andy. We have 2 kids. They're 22 and 19. So even though they're neurotypical, they still make us crazy. And then we have a group of support staff that helps with all the paperwork and stuff. We are an independent, holistic planning firm based just outside of Houston. And what I want to tell you is that we offer a free consultation to everybody who registers for these webinars. We do reach out to each and every person who signs up to see if you have any further questions, or if you would like to schedule your free consultation with one of the advisors at Consolidated Planning Group. So please don't hang up on us. We're just doing our jobs. Just, one way to prevent us from calling you is to go ahead and schedule your appointment right now, and then we don't have to call. You can use the QR code, or you can call us 281-690-1177. Follow us on YouTube. That's where all of these webinars live. Instagram, listen to our podcast, or check out our Facebook page. And the last thing I want to say, other than thank you, is if you are listening on our podcast right now and you would like a copy of these slides, you can email us at contact@cpgcares.net. Everybody else who registered will automatically get a copy of the slides and the presentation today. So thank you again, everybody who took the time to be here with us today to listen, and everybody who took the time to be here to present. We appreciate all of you so much. We couldn't do this without you. And feel free to reach out, please, to us for any questions or anything that you need. For your initial consultation, I see a question there. We want to get to know you, answer any immediate questions you have, and then we'll tell you about how we work and what we do and what we charge. So we do have a short questionnaire that you'll fill out ahead of time that just tells us, you know, names, address, who your child is, things like that. So I look forward to hearing from all of you, and thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a great day.